Hello TEALS volunteers. In this segment I'd like to talk to you about Project Lead the Way's APB approach to delivering curriculum to students. Project Lead the Way uses the APB approach, which stands for activities, A for activities, which are a series of step-by-step activities that have guided instructions and guided practice. They're designed to teach concepts and skills in these activities so that the students can build this understanding and knowledge of these skills and concepts throughout the content. And they're designed to be scaffolding, meaning that they're allowing students to learn things a little bit at a time to build this knowledge base and skill base so that they can use it further down the road. Following activities is oftentimes a project, and a project uses the concepts and skills that they have learned throughout the activity instruction, and it presents with them a problem to solve. It's usually specified in the project, and there's usually a specific solution that is known and is a goal for the students to reach. They're designed to have a high ceiling, meaning that there is a lot of room for differentiation and for different students to achieve different levels. Students that are still developing their skills and knowledge can get to a lower level of complexity in a solution, while students that are more advanced and have more background knowledge to bring to bear are able to go much further and can come up with much more complex solutions to the problems. Finally, problems is the B, even though it doesn't start with B. It's so that we don't have to have two P's in there. But problems are designed to give the student the opportunity to have a say in what they're going to do. So students are given usually a prompt for a problem, or they're even asked to come up with a problem to solve of their own choosing. There is usually no specific path or solution prescribed, so there is really no way to know which direction the students are going to go with it. So they get a large choice in how they're going to extend their learning. They're designed not to have any ceiling, meaning that there really is no limit to the kinds of innovations or inventions that they might come up with in order to solve the problem that they've chosen. And oftentimes, the problem solving will require that they gain knowledge or skills outside of what they've been taught in the curriculum. So they're going to have to use external references and resources to gain the knowledge and skill set that they're going to need to solve the problem that they've presented. Lessons within the computer science principles curriculum for Project Lead the Way are kind of the second largest grouping of curriculum content within the curriculum. There are 4 units within the curriculum for the entire year's course, and then there are multiple lessons within each unit. So a lesson is more than just a day's worth of material, but will span several days and usually even several weeks. Within the lesson, there is a variety of these activities, projects, and problems for the students to go through and work with through their teacher. Lessons will mostly follow this APB approach. At the beginning of a lesson, there is usually an activity. In computer science principles, they usually tend to be a standalone activity that highlights a specific CS concept or set of concepts. It's not necessarily directly tied to the rest of the activities in the lesson, but it goes into some more detail into some important concept or idea having to do with computer science. So it might be something to do with learning about binary code or how digital data is represented. Or it might be investigating the structure of object-oriented programming or other things having to do with coding and computer science. Several scaffolding activities are used in each lesson to teach the skills and concepts that students will need. So depending on the content of the lesson, there may be 3, 4, 5, or even more activities that lead the students through guided practice to develop skills and gain understanding about computer science concepts, usually around a theme that the lesson is going to be based on. Lessons will then end with a project or a problem or both, so that students can then take the skills and knowledge that they've learned through the guided activities and explore those concepts even further with real-world problem-solving experiences. Activities, again, they tend to have more conceptual content and direct teaching. So for planning purposes with you volunteers and your partner teachers, you'll want to consider when your time is going to be most useful in the classroom. Many times during activities, teachers will be using direct instruction techniques, and students will be walking through guided practice activities. But the projects and problems are usually more open-ended work time for the students that spans several days. And those might be times when you can leverage what you can bring to the classroom the most by offering outside expertise and consultant ability to the students as they're working through larger projects that they have to do. Here's an example of what the APB approach looks like in Project Lead the Way's Computer Science Principles curriculum. So lesson 1.2 is mostly focused on using the software program App Inventor to develop Android apps. The first activity starts with something that's, again, a computer science concept that's not directly related to the App Inventor work, but it talks about things like binary, ASCII, RGB, compression, and is a one-day activity to introduce some of these important concepts to the students. Then a couple days are spent with an activity that introduces the App Inventor interface and exploring how it's used to build Android apps. The next activity is a couple of days spent creating mobile apps and building a mobile app using step-by-step instructions that are provided for the students in the curriculum. The next activity more focuses on analyzing a program and its code and trying to teach the important skill of being able to read code that other people have created and also debug problems that might exist in code. Then there's a project that involves significant modifications to some code, adding several different features, some that the students get to choose themselves, to a mobile app that's at least been started for them already. And then it ends finally with a problem that allows the students to express creativity and choose their own direction. So in designing an app in App Inventor, they'll work with a partner to create an app of their own design and of their own choosing. They'll utilize the Agile Scrum development framework in order to manage the project that they're working on and work through an iterative design process to bring the best possible solution forward as they can. And it's also an opportunity for the students to practice the AP CS Principles Create task, which is a major component of the Project Lead the Way CSP curriculum, which can also be taught as an AP CSP implementation. And having that performance with the Create task, one of the major projects that they have to do for the AP CS Principles, is very important for them.